Discretion is advised.
In a move that surprised many Republicans but few political insiders, Senator Ted Cruz was expected to announce on Friday, and did, that he would support Donald Trump's bid for the presidency against Hillary Clinton. For weeks, members of the Cruz team had been hinting at such an announcement. Cruz himself had quietly hinted he was reconsidering his publicly non-committal stance on a candidate who labeled him Lion Ted, suggested he was a serial adulterer, called his wife ugly, and said his father was a conspirator in the murder of JFK, a man Cruz himself had called a pathological liar and a non-conservative charlatan. But on Friday, 2 days before the first debate, Politico broke the news that Cruz would endorse Trump. It's a bad, if understandable, political move. Here are the things you need to know. First, Cruz has experienced more pressure than anyone else in America over Trump, except for maybe me. Cruz has been hammered by former allies in the media and the Republican Party for not openly embracing Trump and bowing before his great God king. That criticism existed before the RNC. It escalated dramatically in the days afterward. More on that in a second. Cruz's donors shied away from him. Some of his biggest boosters in talk radio began ripping him regularly. The RNC chairman, Reince Priebus, or Prince Regis as a friend calls him, openly threatened his future presidential prospects. Trump and his allies suggested primarying Cruz in the Texas Senate race, which put Cruz in a rough spot politically. With a few words, he thought he could end all the pressure. The calculation was that simple. And I guess it deserves at least a little bit of sympathy. He is a politician. Second point, this is a pretty bad political move. And when I say pretty bad, I mean this is Hindenburg-level disaster bad. It's fully understandable to say you'll vote for Trump, but continue to acknowledge he's a disaster area for conservatives. This is what Mark Levin does. That doesn't appear to be what Cruz is doing. Cruz is now announcing he's been surprised by Trump's new message discipline. Even as Trump embraces Vladimir Putin, government-sponsored maternity leave, a plan to cram down tuition price controls, and an expansion of Medicaid. This puts him less in the hold your nose and vote Trump category than the Trump train category. And it's partially due to timing. The timing undercuts Cruz's entire image as a man of principle in a world of dirty politics. He used Trump's announcement of Senator Mike Lee as a potential Supreme Court pick as a fig leaf for the move, but everyone can see that it's a fig leaf. The move appears transparently political, not principled. Principled support for Trump, it could have come before the convention, or at the convention, or just after the convention, to jump on board 2 days before the debates, at a time when Trump is obviously ratcheting up pressure on never-Trumpers to jump aboard. Manipulative. It seems even more manipulative given Cruz's early warmth toward Trump's, when he thought he could ride Trump's coattails to the nomination, and then he broke with Trump, which seemed more principled, and now he re-embraces Trump just in time for the election. It's worth noting here that Cruz is taking a real risk by endorsing Trump. Cruz's Trump endorsement is risky not just because he risks fracturing his base, hoping presumably they'll forget about his endorsement if Trump loses, and acknowledging his correctness if Trump wins, but because Trump could actually destroy him. Trump's done that before. As I reported at the time back in the RNC, Cruz's speech at the RNC was designed to be an overture to Trump. It was actually a quasi-endorsement that didn't explicitly provide support for Trump, but obviously paved the way for that kind of support. Cruz negotiated that language in advance with Trump. Trump knew about it. And then Trump used the vagueness of the speech as an opportunity to cast Cruz publicly as a traitor, sending his minions to the convention floor to whip up boos before popping into the convention himself like a WWE hero to Cruz's villain. It's worth noting that on Friday, it's possible that Trump could have done the same thing to Cruz again. Cruz could have been putting his head on the chopping block, Ned Stark style, only for Trump to go full Joffrey and behead him. Trump said after the RNC he wouldn't accept Cruz's endorsement, but it appears that Kellyanne Conway was successful in prying Trump's phone from his fingers in the moments after Cruz submitted, and now he says he's glad to have Cruz's endorsement. So, what's the outcome likely to be? Well, Cruz isn't going to move a lot of voters over to Trump. Most Cruz voters who haven't moved over to Trump supported Cruz out of principle, not out of personal loyalty to him, and they're not going to be persuaded to move to Trump now. This morning, Glenn Beck just crushed Cruz on the air. They'll feel their guy capitulated because the establishment forced him to kneel before Zod. Cruz will have undercut his own image, and Trump probably won't be able to help gloating in the days to come. Here's Cruz's best bet. If Trump wins, he'll have been on the winning team. If Trump loses, he won't be blamed for the loss. That's true as far as it goes. But because of how Cruz played his hand here, he's going to be seen less as a reluctant man pushing Trump to victory than a guy who chose expedience over principle, which is actually kind of tragic, since Cruz probably is a man of principle, victimized by both a system that crushes principle and a belief he can still manipulate that system to his own ends. He can't. He'd be better off acknowledging that simple fact and standing with the principles he supposedly believes. Going into the big debate tonight, there are going to be like 100 million people who watch this thing. It's going to be like the Super Bowl. Everybody's going to watch it. I don't know who's making their mind up based on this debate. Honestly, I made a couple of miscalculations in this election cycle. I'll just be honest with you. My predictions in this election cycle have not been up to their normal par. But partially that's because I thought that Americans wanted a president who wasn't a complete moron. And partially I thought that's because Americans didn't want a president who was a complete corrupt handbag of lunacy. I was wrong. So I apologize for that. My opinion of American voters was apparently too high. And so we end up with a debate between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton for the leadership of the free world, which is It's America, the reality show, 2016. Harambe, where are you when we needed you? It's just tragic. But Trump has all the advantages going into this debate. So I'm going to put aside my own personal rage over this election cycle. I'm going to put aside the fact that I think everyone is stupid and everything is stupid. I'm going to drink heavily during this debate. I have to be at an event in Simi Valley later today covering this thing. I'll cover it live on dailywire.com. I'll be covering it on Twitter, so make sure that you pay attention there. But we'll get back to my issues of rage in just a minute. The fact that the lesser of two evils has led us to a place where everything stinks, where the debate tonight is going to go something like this. Hillary Clinton. Donald, you're stupid. Donald Trump. You're so crooked. Crooked Hillary. Hillary. Donald. You're also crooked. Trump. You're crooked and ugly. Hillary. Sexist. Trump. Your husband raped people. Hillary. Meh. Congratulations, America. One of these two people will be your president. Okay, so don't worry. We'll get back to more hot rage spewing from me henceforth. But Trump has all the advantages going in. So there's some major advantages that Trump has going in tonight. And he should win the debate. He should. I'm predicting it now. Trump should win the debate if he can hold himself in check. Right now, Hillary's entire campaign, is it possible that she can win just by convincing the American public that Trump is a nut? Trump's entire campaign is don't look like a nut. So it's easier for a nut to look not like a nut for 90 minutes. If you've ever met somebody who's completely insane in your life, they actually play normal people pretty well most of the time. It's only every so often you realize they think that the curtains are talking to them. But most of the time, crazy people act kind of not crazy, which is why it's sort of hard to deal with people who legitimately have a screw loose. Assuming Trump is crazy, he may not be, he may just be stupid, but assuming Trump is crazy, he can play not crazy for 90 minutes, which is more of an advantage. Hillary's main fault here in the polls is people think she's dishonest. If you're a liar, if you're a dishonest person, if people think you're dishonest, then 5 seconds of you is enough to convince them that you're just as dishonest as everyone ever thought you were. If, however, you're crazy, it's actually not that hard to make it seem as though you're not. So here are some of the advantages. First, it is now a dead heat. This race is a dead heat. And that is less a testament to Trump being great at this and more a testament to the fact that Hillary is the worst political candidate in the history of humankind. I mean, like, there are cave dwellers, Neanderthal cave dwellers, back before the rise of human language who are worse politicians that she's worse than. And Hillary Clinton, it's very possible she could have lost to, like, Og, the caveman, in an election in like now, today. If you brought Og the caveman, who can't speak English and just grunts at people, Og the caveman could probably beat Hillary in a national election because she's just this bad at this. You know, last week we played that tape of her screaming, "Why aren't I up by 50 points?" Because of tape like that, Hillary. So the numbers are really bad. The new polls show dead heat between Trump and Clinton. So Bloomberg today has Trump up over Clinton in a four-way race, 43-41. So as I've said before, this is not Trump doing unbelievably well. He still can't break 43% in a national poll four-way, but he can beat her if enough people go third party. And this is what's amazing. A lot of focus being put on the never Trumpers now because everybody's got to get on the Trump train. There are more Republicans on the Trump train than Democrats on the Hillary train. According to an ABC poll yesterday, 87% of Republicans are going to vote for Trump. 84% of Democrats are going to vote for Hillary. 45% of Republicans, something like that, are enthusiastic about voting Trump. Only 34% of Democrats are enthusiastic about voting Hillary. The new CNN ORC poll shows Trump up 1 in a four-way race. CNN ORC has Trump up 1 in Colorado, which means he wins the election. Down 1 in Pennsylvania. Hillary had this firewall. The firewall is gone. What's more, Trump is up 59 points among white, non-college educated men, and 47% of Americans think Trump's going to lose the debate tonight. 47% think Hillary will win. Only 33% think Trump will win. That means Trump is at a massive advantage. Expectations, that's the name of the game. All Trump has to do is not almost literally diarrhea himself on stage or eat a Mexican baby, and he wins the race tonight. He wins the debate tonight. Hillary Clinton has to prove that she's likable. She has to prove that she's human. She has to prove she's not dead. All of these are uphill battles for a walking corpse. So, excuse me, Nate Silver writes this morning, quote, "The latest polling is consistent with a Clinton lead of only 1% nationally. State firewall breaking up. Trend lines awful." Are you ready for this? Lefties, it's panic time, okay? I mean, I think everyone, it's panic time for either of these two candidates winning, but people who are Hillary allies, panic, panic, panic galore. Okay, right now, here's the panic. If the election were held today, according to Nate Silver, Hillary would lose. If the election were held today, there's a 55% shot that Trump wins. Woo! And the reason for that is that Hillary is legitimately awful at this in every way. So Robbie Mook is her campaign spokesperson. Fitting name. Robbie Mook was on Jake Tapper on CNN, and Jake Tapper asks Robbie Mook about new emails revealed on Friday showing that one of the IT people actually talked about Hillary's cover-up operation, direct quote, Hillary's cover-up operation in the emails, and Robbie Mook looks like he wants to actually slice off his own ears in the middle of this particular interview.
An IT contractor managing Hillary Clinton's private email server made reference to the, quote, Hillary cover-up operation in a work ticket. He used those words after a senior Clinton aide asked him to automatically delete emails after 60 days. This IT worker certainly sounded like he thought he was covering something up, no?
Look, Jake, first of all, I'm actually glad you asked this question because a lot of this stuff is swirling around there in the ether. It's important to pull back and look at the facts here. The FBI did a comprehensive and deep investigation into this, and at the conclusion of that, FBI Director Comey came out and said to the world that there was no case here, that they did not have evidence of wrongdoing on Hillary's part.
So what's the Hillary cover-up operation?
So, and Tapper asks, what's Hillary's cover-up operation? And Mook has no answer for that because Hillary's cover-up operation can be translated in English as Hillary's cover-up operation because she's covering things up. And it's amazing. I mean, Mook is also asked, he specifically asked about Hillary's staffers. And he says, don't worry, we're brutally honest to her. Mm-hmm.
Does Secretary Clinton have anyone in her orbit who can be brutally honest and frank with her? I ask that because it seems like, based on a lot of the information we've gotten about her emails and the like, that she might not have people like that. And in debate prep, it would be very important for somebody to really be able to go after her, to prepare her for a debate. And I don't know that she has anybody like that in her orbit.
Well, she absolutely does, Jake. Anybody who's worked for Secretary Clinton, first of all, knows that she surrounds herself with experts on every matter that she looks into. She just did a call earlier this week after.
Things out there. She surrounds herself with experts like Robbie Mook. Yeah, I'm sure that everybody takes this seriously. So number one, the numbers don't favor Hillary. Number two, there are different standards for these particular candidates. There are different standards. I'm going to discuss that in just one. The standards here, Trump has a lower standard. People know Trump's ignorant. They're not expecting him to be fully baked on policy. They know he's colorful, which is to say he says crazy things. They know that he'll say offensive stuff. They know that he kind of lies out of habit, but they think that that's just a facet of his truth-telling. He says things that are honest but not honest. Hillary, they know she's dishonest. They hate her. There's a far better shot Trump is able to survive 90 minutes without looking like a complete nutcase than that Hillary is able to look honest over the course of 90 minutes. So, Trump